Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blog. So let's get to it. I say I'm gonna take some time off, y'all.
All the cashiers, they was like, somebody stole her truck. It was like you could hear it all throughout the store.
This Rox coming to you today with a review for Love and Marriage Detroit, Love and Marriage Huntsville, our book 4, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys, first story up today. We got to talk about this Wendy Williams story, because this Wendy Williams story is constantly changing and it has gotten so confusing that I'm starting to feel like somebody is trying to stage a coup or something here. I don't know what's going on, but you guys know that Wendy Williams is under conservatorship because they said that they could not trust that the people that were in charge of Wendy or that were helping Wendy, her team, could not keep her safe from somebody stealing her money and wasting it away. Okay. We know that Wendy Williams had a good amount of money and it was dwindling away as she was trying to fight like her addiction to drugs and trying to deal with her health issues and trying to hold on one second. I got a message here and oh shit, I want to read it because I think I might have to have a congratulations to a friend of mine. Well, we sort of have to, so I'm not gonna say any names or nothing, but my friend, if you're watching, you know who you are. Congratulations to you. Good news, y'all. Good news. We need good news. You've been fucked up already. Getting back to the story. So we know that Wendy Williams was, they had taken her money and put her under conservatorship. There was somebody that was responsible for guardianship of her bank accounts at Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo felt like people were taking advantage of her in her diminished state. And again, that was the abuse of alcohol and drugs, and what looked like some sort of mental breakdown. They told us that she had this frontal temporal, some sort of dementia along the same lines of what Bruce Willis has. They were saying that she has the same thing. They're saying that hers, however, was induced by alcohol. And then, of course, we saw the documentary that had us all alarmed because, I mean, to see somebody just constantly bombed like that, I mean, she was fucked up the whole documentary. And we were able to really get a clear picture of what her addiction is. I'm not going to forget that, okay? That is the part that gave me pause and like, okay, maybe she does need somebody to help her, because clearly she could not be responsible. If we saw Wendy Williams in that state and if she had that money, she was going to let anybody do whatever as long as they gave her some alcohol, okay, a bottle of vodka, and made sure that she was able to get her vaping stuff. Okay, she was addicted to the alcohol and the vape. So, it didn't feel like, okay, it wasn't necessary, but it still felt unfair that the people that was taking care of her, it seemed like they were all the way at the other extreme. So she had absolutely no access to her money. She wasn't able to really do anything. And it just never really made sense to us. But I know that we can maybe all agree that Wendy Williams does have some sort of mental, there are some health issues mentally and emotionally that Wendy Williams is still trying to deal with, okay? The addiction, though, is the part that, of course, gives everybody pause, because, when you are addicted to something, like drugs and alcohol, you don't really, if you're in the ravages of it, you're going to do whatever you can to get to it, So there's been that. But, recently we have seen Wendy Williams has been trying to fight back, which I admire that about her. Like, it's finally feeling like Wendy Williams has gotten at least control over that addiction. enough so that when we see her anyway, you know, she's starting to look and sound like herself again. Okay. Now, yesterday I was watching the Entertainment Tonight, and this was the best I've ever seen Wendy Williams. I almost want to say she looks better now than she did towards the end of when we were seeing like her falling apart. Like, she's looking better again. Like, she's looking like herself. I can still tell that there's some, you know, there's definitely some issues there, but hearing her in that interview yesterday, so apparently TMZ put out this documentary on Tubi about Wendy Williams. I don't have the official name of it, but there was a Tubi documentary that was put out, and they were interviewing her as she was living in this assisted living facility. She's apparently living in a place that's still trying to help her with her addictions. Okay. And, you know, we had already kind of got a hint of that when she did the Breakfast Club interview, because in that interview, she said that she's just in this little small apartment, you know, basically 4 walls and a door. And, in this interview with TMZ, we could see her actually in that place. So she's staying in this place, 5th floor window of this assisted living facility. We saw her, and she was talking to the person that was interviewing her. And if you guys saw that, yeah, she sounds like old Wendy. Like, she sounds like herself for sure. Much better. Every time we hear her, she's sounding better. So I'm hoping that means that she's gotten those addictions, you know, that they really are working on them, and that because listen, they're not going to ever give her access to that money until they can see that she at least has the train of thought where she can make some decisions for herself. Okay. So it looks like that might be where we are now, because in the interview, you know, Wendy Williams was talking about why we are here in this first place. Now, we've discussed this at length on this channel. I always said the reason why Wendy Williams found herself in this mess was because of what happened with her son, and the fact that he was ordering DoorDash, and there was like $80,000 of DoorDash orders. Okay. I have always said that the son is the reason why Wendy is in this mess. You guys, not all of you, but a good amount of you were like, well, that's her son, and if she want her son to be spending the money, and, you know, blah, 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 and nobody can say it's her son's fault, and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, you guys have to understand, like, $80,000, even to a rich person, that's a lot of money. That's waste. Or should I say that's excessive for somebody to me, that is taking advantage of a situation. Now, he was young, and, you know, young kids, you know, they do operate in excess. I mean, I understand that. But when the bank saw that you know, those transactions going and going and going, of course, that was going to flag somebody's attention. And so I always felt like it was her son's fault. You guys, many of you guys was like, yeah, don't be blaming the son, and it don't matter, that's her money and all that. But now look, what a difference a day make, because on the interview herself, out of Wendy's mouth, Wendy said it is her son's fault that they are here today, that her son was stealing money from her. Okay, these are her words. That her son was stealing money from her, and that her son was a horrible person to her. She said that she still loves her son and that he is a good person. However, he was not the best with her. Now, she probably could have used some better words, because I do believe that Wendy still loves her son. I mean, that's her son and everything, but I think that Wendy is also trying to get everybody to understand that she is aware that people have been trying to take advantage of her, down to her family, fresh out of her own blood, like out of her own womb. Okay. But now that she's aware, and that she has completely said it with her mouth, yes, this is my son's fault, you know, maybe now that she's willing to address and just confront these issues and let the bank and everybody else know, like, yes, I know the people that are responsible. I'm not going to have them people be responsible for me anymore. Okay. Now that she's looked like she may have, I don't know if she stopped drinking and drugs and stuff, but it looks like she at least had put it down long enough for her to be able to get these real cohesive and, you know, she's able to express herself. She's lucid. So she's like, you know, my son is the reason, but that does not mean that, you know, I shouldn't have access to my money. Like, now I know my son won't be the person that'll be in charge of that part of my life. And, you know, So I'm watching this and I'm going, now they will also tell you that people that are addicted, the people that have addictions to, especially particularly drugs and alcohol, that they are also good actors, and that they are able to trick people into thinking that they got a control of something, or that they've stopped something when they haven't. Okay. So that's something that the courts also have to keep in mind, whether or not this is really something that Wendy has worked on and that she is better, or is she just trying to put on an act in order to get what she wants. Child, it is hot, but I brought my fan today. Baby, it is hot. It's hot. I don't want to roll the windows down though, because there's a lot going on around me, but we might have to, you guys. But yeah. So, I don't know. I'm not sure if we are just really eager to have Wendy be back to who she was. And so we're still, or me, let me not say weird, because some of you guys might not feel this way, but is it me feeling naive enough? Am I being naive thinking that, you know, this woman has worked on what some of her issues are and that she should get to this money? I mean, I think at the end of the day, the guardianship that she has, the person that they have assigned to her, like, no, I think that there may be some other people that can help her. Okay. She did sign paperwork to end the guardianship. I guess it has to go to the court, and they have to see, and they have to assess, and they have to evaluate, and all the things that they need to do to see if this is something that can happen for her. But yeah, Wendy clearly is fighting. She's fighting now. And again, sounding more and more like herself. Child, I'm gonna have to roll these windows down, because hold on one second. Child, it is hot. I'm telling you, my hot flashes have been so bad these last few weeks. I mean, literally all day. I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm hot, I'm cold. I'm turning on the heater, I'm turning off the heater, I'm turning the fan on, I'm turning the fan off, I'm turning, literally all day long. It has just been, whew. It's been a lot, you guys. But anyway, it has made me feel good to see Wendy starting to look and sound like herself again. Should she be 100% in charge of her money again? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But I think that there is something that can be done about this case, because there's just certain parts of it that just it ain't sitting well with me. Okay. So yeah, but you guys let me know what you think. Did you see the interview? You guys need to try to find it, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. She looked great. She had her cute little wig on, red, you know. She had her cute little outfit on, and she looked good. So y'all let me know what you think about that. Let's move on to the next story. All right, you guys, this is one that's going to leave a little foul taste in your mouth. They say that more than 2,000 displaced residents from the Eaton fire. The Eaton fire is the one that happened in Altadena/Pasadena, and we know that the same way that that fire just devastated the Pacific Palisades area, the Eaton fire definitely tore apart Altadena and Pasadena. Altadena in particular, but both Altadena and Pasadena had some fires that burned down full communities, neighborhoods, blocks and blocks and blocks of homes. Okay, so we had all these people that were displaced, and they were told to go to the Pasadena Convention Center, and that's where most of those people had went until they were able to figure out exactly what they were going to do. So they said that 80% of the people have moved on, figured out some living arrangements, and moved from the Pasadena Convention Center. However, there's about 200 residents there that still have not been able to secure a new place for them to live, you know, them and their family. So they had still been staying at the Pasadena Convention Center. Well, now that we've gotten a control on these fires, and you know, it's not a big story, not nationwide anyway. It might be still, you know, in California, but like, we don't hear anything about the fires here in Atlanta any longer. Okay, but now that it looks like maybe sympathies and empathies for the fire victims have died down, it looks like everybody is ready to get back to business as usual. So apparently at Pasadena Convention Center, that is where they hold the auditions for America's Got Talent. And America's Got Talent auditions usually happen in January, but because the fire happened, they postponed it. Well, they postponed it until March. So now that March is quickly coming, you guys, the year is just flying by. Can you believe we almost gonna be in March? Child, we in the middle of February. It feel like it was just Christmas. It literally feels like it was just Christmas. Okay, even though January felt like it was 6 months long. How does this happen? I don't know what's happening here, but anyway, so they moved the auditions to March, and so now they're like, everybody needs to get out. And you know, I don't know how tone deaf you have to be. I mean, I realize that everybody wants to get back to some semblance of normal life, but this fire by far was not a normal occurrence. Like, this was something that happened that had such great devastation to not just a few homes, not even just a couple of blocks. I mean, damn near the whole city. You know, everybody was touched in some kind of way here. So I feel like it's real tone deaf for them to be trying to tell these people that they gotta go. Okay, it doesn't feel like asking for a month or two longer in that convention center is too much of an ask. It doesn't feel like that. These people lost everything. Some people were not prepared to lose all. Nobody is ever prepared to lose everything, you know, and then have to try to regroup your lives. I mean, just imagine, some of us is living check to check. Some of us don't have money in savings. Some of us, you know, they just can't just up and create a whole nother life, you know. So people need help, and them telling them to move is just, that is not good. The people there are feeling abandoned. They're feeling like just the things that we were worried about when it happened. Remember when I told you, I was like, not so much what in Palisades, because we know what the persuasion is out in the Palisades area for the most part. We're talking about people that just middle class, you know, Altadena, Pasadena, for the most part, is middle class people that are just trying to live their lives, and like I said, can't afford it. So it's too bad, but that's not a good look for America's Got Talent. Like, I know that, first of all, when you got a whole community of people that had shit burned all the way down, like, we don't want to see no celebrities. We don't want to celebrate. We don't even want to come in as an audience to try. Like, we got way more bigger fish to fry and sit up here and looking at somebody, you know, balance a damn ball on the top of their head while they do backflips and dance and swim through an aquarium. I'm trying to think of something like real spectacular, what happens on there. Like, we don't need any of that right now. These people need help. They just not in the mood to see people happy and celebrating and all that. And I can totally understand, you know. So, but I also know that they can't stay there forever. So that's why I said it, but it don't feel like a couple of months. Can y'all just give these people a couple more months to try to get it together? 2 months just don't feel like it's enough. It just does not. And it's really a month and a half. Yeah, people want to get back to their regular routine, but this is so out the norm that I think people need to be afforded a little bit more time. What do you guys think, though? I think that don't look good for America's Got Talent. But you know what? They say the show must go on, so we'll see. But y'all leave your comments about it below. Let's move on to the next story. All right, you guys, so I was pretty shocked this morning because one of the Roxstars had requested me to talk about the divorce, an impending divorce between Shani and Pastor Keon. Okay, Shani Henderson, okay, formerly known as Shani O'Neal, okay, and Pastor Keon Henderson. You know, they've been married for a few years. We remember when they got together, there was a little bit of scandal about that, because some people were saying that he was still with his former wife, and then other people said that he wasn't, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, finally, you know, Shani landed on top, and she became the first lady of the church, and she took that role very seriously. You know, she became First Lady Shani, and she looked like she was happy in that role. I was shocked when somebody told me that they were about to get a divorce. I was like, what? You know, I know that Pastor Keon in the church I can't think of the name of the church. I didn't put it in my notes, but I I know that they've fallen on some hard times. You know, they had those horrible storms out there in Houston, and his church had all that damage. Remember, we've talked about that story at length here too. We talked about the fact that he was asking everybody to give a certain amount so that they can raise, like, what was it, $4 million or something, so that they can get the work done on the church and everybody can move back in, because when the storms happened, they ended up borrowing the space from, was it Joel Osteen's? I think it was Joel Osteen's church. Don't quote me, but they were working out of another huge, you know, mega church. But of course, you know, when you are a church and you have your own regular family, you know, you don't be feeling like going to another church with their family and trying to, you know, you start to feel like you not wanted, not welcomed, you know. Gosh, I know, because at our church, when in LA, the church that I was going to, called Eternal Hope, our church burned down, and we all had to go to this other church, which actually was a smaller church. And all of us jammed up in the smaller church, and, you know, they started to get annoyed with us, and we was annoyed with them. And, you know, you trying to figure out how the choirs are going to sing and who gonna preach and all that. It just becomes a mess, you know. So I understood that Pastor Henderson wanted to go, you know, wanted to get back in his own church, their own home. But, you know, when you start talking about money in these big churches and all that, you know, that's already, people already got a good little side eye about it. So then, so I don't know what the state of even the church is out there. Some of you guys are actually members of the church, so you guys have to let me know what's going on there. But again, getting back to this divorce that they're saying was happening, you guys, I looked high and low for a credible story that this story is true. Okay, for a credible article, a credible interview, something maybe from the horse's mouth, whether or not it would be Shawnee or Pastor Keon, to let us know. And I just could not find that. Now, what I have found, though, is that on TikTok, I've talked about this before, TikTok seems like sometimes people create stories to drive traffic to their page, that people come up with topics that might not necessarily be true. Because now this feels like this is maybe the third or fourth story that I've seen only evidence of people talking about it on TikTok. Like, it's not on Instagram. And not saying that Instagram is the end all be all, but I'm gonna need like some credible stories, and not just us YouTubers who are saying that this is what happened. Okay, like so, because we had this happen with Brad and Judy. We had this happen with Fantasia and her husband. We had this happen with somebody else. They were saying, I remember telling you guys that I couldn't find the story about this. And now this story, I'm not sure if you guys know anything more about it and can tell me, direct me to like a credible website that has this information, then I'm not comfortable in saying that this is something that's really truly happening. I just really think that TikTok creates untrue stories for traffic. And that story is big over there, and a lot of people are talking about it, and a lot of views are being made there. But again, I haven't seen it anywhere else, so I don't know what to tell you guys about that. I mean, I guess we can just continue to see, you know, wait and see what it is. But as of right now, I just not willing to put my stamp on it, y'all. But if you know anything further about it, you guys leave your comments about it below, okay? Especially y'all that go to the church. And what's the name of the church anyway? Y'all put that below too. Now, you know who is getting a divorce though. And we got a confirmation on this one, Apollo and his wife, okay? Sherian Copes. Remember, they got married about 3 years ago. They got married right when Apollo got out of jail. Now, we knew that they were a couple because they had this weird episode on Real Housewives of Atlanta when she actually was at Candy's OLG. And we saw and met this lady then. I thought that they were trying to work that girl into Real Housewives of Atlanta, but I don't know. I think that it just didn't work for whatever reason. So they kind of had dropped and abandoned that direction, and then the girl ended up being on Married to Medicine because Phaedra went over to Married to Medicine. So then they brought her over there with Apollo, and caused some drama over there. But they tell us that they've actually been separated since November of 2023. And I know a few months ago we had a conversation about a confrontation that they had at the house. Remember, something happened. I think she was on the phone, and Apollo thought that she was talking to some dude or something, and she kind of thought it was funny that he thought that, and I think she maybe was trying to get under his skin, or maybe provoked him in some kind of way. They had some sort of like push and match. I don't think nobody just flat out swung on nobody or nothing, but I think they had like kind of pushed each other around in the kitchen, and it was looking like it was headed that way. He ended up taking her phone and leaving the house, I think, and then she had to go out and go to the neighbor's house, which has got to be the most embarrassing thing. I'm telling you, if some shit ever went down with me and Mr., I do not want to go knock on none of my neighbors' doors. First of all, I don't even talk to none of them. Probably, every now and then there's a couple that I do wave at and shit, but for the most part, I don't know none of them people enough for me to go ringing nobody's door talking about, can I use your phone because my husband and I got in a fight and he took my damn phone. Like, I just don't know none of them that way. Okay, I would be so embarrassed. I have too much pride for that, y'all. But anyway, so she ended up calling the police, and the police came. I don't remember the full story. Either they arrested him or they didn't arrest somebody. Somebody had a scratch on them or something, child. I think it was, they ended up arresting him or detaining him. I don't know if he was fully arrested, but they ended up taking him because she had a scratch or some shit on her. But now they have decided that the marriage is irretrievably broken, and they is fixing to just call it quits on each other. She did put out a statement, and I am going to, actually it's not a statement, this is what the court paperwork says. Okay, it says the respondent and I can no longer live together, and there is no hope that we will get back together. They said that she checked off the boxes indicating that she was allegedly endured cruel treatment at the hands of Apollo, as well as adultery and desertion. The respondent has had sexual intercourse with someone else during our marriage. The respondent has intentionally and continually deserted me for at least a year. The respondent has committed adultery multiple times throughout our relationship. Respondent refused to seek professional help with his mental health issues, and instead he emotionally and physically abused me and brought great emotional abuse to his stepdaughter. Okay, she's also asked for a protective order. Apollo apparently has agreed to the protective order, but he wants it to be clarified that he has never done anything to her to make her feel like she needs this protective order. I was just like, what would that mean? That's what the story that I was reading, that's what they said, that he agreed to it, but he wanted everybody to understand that he ain't did shit to her. Okay, nothing for her to be feeling like her life is in danger, but apparently she feels like her and her child's life is in danger. So, hey, it's a wrap on that. Grand opening, grand close. Not quite grand opening, grand closing, because they've been married for a few years, but it don't seem like they've ever really, once it went from honeymoon straight to some bullshit, right? Because it was just like, damn, y'all, the 3 years, hell, you was a couple longer while he was in jail, because she was with him for a long time while he was in jail. But see, that's the thing, once they get their ass up out of jail, and then you got to look at their funky ass face to face, maybe you get to change in your mind, like, shit, do I really want to be with you like that? So it looks like these two are breaking up. Okay, all right, well, let's wrap on that. Anybody interested? Apollo still look good. Any of y'all might, she's a good looking lady too, so if you're interested, they gonna be free soon. All right. All right, you guys, that's it for this one here video. Okay, we do this every single week, so make sure you thumbs up the video, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Till next time, Roxstars.